Okay, so we have reached the 60-hour battery mark. Standby with no load, just panel. And I wanted to address something. This is a test that very much so matters. This being an analog panel, analog pulse stations use no current whatsoever. So you could have 100 pulse stations attached to this panel, it wouldn't affect the standby runtime test. Smoke detectors, when they're analog, only use 10 UF, so almost nothing. Now, that's a good. It's been 60 hours. So the 60-hour mark, we're at 24.11. Now, what happens at the end of the 60-hour battery requirement? You have to ring the horns for 5 minutes if it's regular horns. If it's voice, you have to ring them for 15. And if it's voice high-rise, 2 hours. So we're not going to ring any horns here. I don't want to disturb the tenants, but we are going to put load on it for 5 minutes. Let me pause the phone. Okay, so we've connected some very bright lights to this. We are going to leave these connected for 5 minutes to simulate a fire alarm load. Okay, it's been 2.5 minutes. This simulates our horns running. And we are at 23.93. That's really good. Does anyone know what voltage the 60-hour battery requirement stops at? Meaning, like, when do you fail? I'm going to give you a second to guess, and I'll tell you. Anytime the voltage goes below 22 volts, it means you failed the test. Or, I mean, you know, if it goes below after the test, and you as long as it stayed above 22. Okay, I will update us again in 2.5 minutes. Okay, it has been 2.5 minutes, 5 minutes total. This simulates 10 watts worth of horns, which 10 watts worth of horns is nothing, but it's a very small panel. Look at it. 10 watts worth of horn coverage gets you a roughly 7 2903 light plates with 2901 horns. So, well, 7 or 5. It depends how high you have the flash set. We'll leave it going a little while longer. I'll be right back. Okay, so it's been an additional 5 minutes. And let's look at our voltage. We are still above, we're still really good actually. We're well above the 22 point, excuse me, you fail once you go below 22. So we're above 22, so we're still passing. So that was 10 minutes of 10 watts worth of horns after the 60-hour standby. So one thing that you could do is you could call it 20 watts at 5 minutes of horns, since we know we're seeing no sign of ailing. That was cool. We're going to be doing this test again. Definitely.